Welcome to Techfile. We cover the biggest technology trends impacting our lives. My name is Kelley Boss. Now, when you hear about the possibilities of going back to school, chances are you wouldn't consider it, mainly because of the acres and acres of theory you'll have to go through. But what if I told you there's a technology that can help you visualize this theory before you actually get to learn about it? So, for example, instead of telling you about a boat riding experience, I actually take you through a visual experience of boat riding. Well, virtual reality is used to offer a more realistic experience. And in this episode, we'll talk about how particularly VR can be used to enhance education.
Ukwenza VR is a social enterprise that works in the education space. We use virtual reality and other forms of visual media to support learning. Our focus so far has been on social issues such as climate change and plastic pollution, and we are looking to expand that into other issues, but also to expand our reach to support curriculum, and we are hoping to engage relevant stakeholders so that every child across Kenya can experience the benefits of virtual reality and visual learning. So think about it this way. Have you ever traveled to Mount Everest? But in all the textbooks that we have, we learn that Mount Everest is the highest mountain. So if you think about it, I would bet 99.9% of our teachers have not been to Mount Everest, and yet they have to describe Mount Everest to students. So their understanding is very limited. So the best thing for the students to understand Mount Everest would be for them to travel to Mount Everest, but that's not possible. Financially, logistically, physically, it might be a challenge. So the next best thing is virtual reality. Virtual reality allows you to sort of transport yourself in a virtual environment and experience that environment as if you were there. And we believe that in the reality of education where students cannot travel everywhere, we can bring the world to the classroom through virtual reality, and we support that with other forms of visual media. Sometimes virtual reality is not an easy to access technology, then we have videos that support that. And sometimes the teacher just needs a simple picture. So we also have visual images to support that learning.
Now let me explain virtual reality in education. While there are two different types of modules in education, there is passive and immersive educational experience. So in the passive experience is like you watching this on TV or streaming it on YouTube. Even though I can prompt you to like, share, or subscribe, or follow me on Instagram, there is nothing active you can do about this video except perhaps a click. But in an immersive experience is a more interactive way of absorbing information. In fact, it's like getting into an environment and you can get to look around and actually experience that as if you're actually there, but it's just visual.
Think about virtual reality beyond the classroom. Its applications are limitless. So one of the ways we think about it is that virtual reality for learning. So it can be used as a training tool. Think about, as a country, we talk about we want to be more industrialized or we want to go into mining, but bringing in the equipment just for training is very expensive. Virtual reality can simulate such experiences and allow people to develop the competencies needed to operate such equipment so that the time required with the actual equipment is reduced. So this makes the cost of training very affordable. Virtual reality can be used for entertainment. Actually, its primary source around the world is more entertainment. It's a beautiful gaming tool. It's a beautiful tool for workouts, for exercise and that sort of thing. And so if you think about like COVID times when we couldn't go for runs or we couldn't take the walks we wanted. Virtual reality can simulate that. So it's a sort of escapist technology, but also as a communication tool, it's very powerful in allowing you to be very intimate in your communication. We've also seen it as an important tool in tertiary education for colleges, universities, and TVETs, where they can access tools they traditionally wouldn't have. So think about a TVET that is doing a carpentry class, yeah? They can buy 10 machinery for that. But in the world, there's 100 machinery used for carpentry. So the students will learn with the 10 really well, but they need to be able to understand how the other 90 work. Through virtual reality, we can have a simulation of the other 90, and the students can take self-paced classes where they get, today they experience 1, another day 2, like that. And so they can start to familiarize with themselves with that technology. So if they go into the field and they see that equipment, it's not something new. They may not know exactly how to do it, but they understand exactly how it works. They understand its parts. They're able to take it apart, bring it together. And this can also be used in training of advanced skills such as surgery or even engineering. And so we're exploring that. We are exploring partnerships with universities because we really want to see this become the new standard for quality education, because we really do believe in the potential of immersive learning.
Ukiwa kwa darasa wawezi kupatia hii VR usome nayo. Sasa ukikuja hapa kwa VR, ukikuja hapa results ndio unapewa hiyo VR unasoma nayo. Na hii VR sio kama masomo mengine ya class. Hazifanani.
When we have technology, it will bring services closer, that the learners have been able to experience what have been happening outside. Personally, I have also seen those images and they are very nice because it talks about pollution in other areas where maybe we could not reach there. We've also seen that with this kind of technology, the learners, even teaching in classroom, have become fun. It is fun, and that the learners take these things positively. 1, because they enjoy learning, and 2, because they get exposure of even what is happening in other areas, like along the Nairobi River, and also in the management of the plastic waste and other waste within the environment.
Around the world, virtual reality is transforming education in smart classrooms. Some of the ways schools are creating engaging, unforgettable learning experiences with immersive lessons are through exploring topics firsthand using virtual field trips, understanding theory-based conceptual subjects, developing computing and technology skills, immersive group learning. And while VR is an incredible learning tool, it's important to remember that it shouldn't be used to replace a traditional lesson. But there's something different about Ukwenza VR, because according to their CEO, it's more of a social space. The modules they teach these kids are like the environment and the importance of keeping it clean. So what they do is, through virtual reality, take these kids to a place where they can see the ugly effects of littering. Then when you teach them about picking glass bottle over plastic, it makes more sense to them. Because imagine teaching grade 5 kids about the effects of plastic to the environment, in theory, in class. That's just far-fetched. And then when you add the effects of climate change, it becomes Greek altogether.
So virtual reality is an emerging technology. And when we think about technology, we ask ourselves, what is an easy way for us to learn and adapt to the technology? In the classroom, you want to get an easy entry point. So an easy entry point is clubs. So, but we don't want it to be purely a virtual reality club. We want it to have another layer to it. So the way we introduced the additional layer to Ukwenza VR is using virtual reality to teach about social issues. Currently, we are focusing on conservation, which falls under the umbrella of climate change. We're focusing on plastic pollution, and these are the things that we would like the kids to sort of have a better understanding. Plastic pollution is a very boring topic for a student. Even for adults, it's very complex. So, but we want these children to care about plastic pollution enough for them to want to do better. So virtual reality gives us an interesting way for us to approach the topic, but also challenge people's understanding of the topic. So through our experiences, kids can travel to Thailand and see an ocean cleanup in Thailand. Kids can travel to Scotland and see a polluted natural environment and see how birds are affected by plastic pollution because they confuse plastic for food. If we were to do that in a term, even with resources, it wouldn't be possible to travel to all those places. Kids can go deep sea diving through virtual reality, which, think about kids with disabilities. They maybe can travel to Mombasa, but their ability to go deep sea diving might be limited. And so we're sort of creating equity, but also expanding our understanding of education, but also our approach to delivering knowledge. One of the schools we work with is Msedo Beijing in Mathare. So across the road from the school is Mathare River, which up until last year, December, was a highly polluted river. So we recorded an experience of Mathare River before that. And we talked about it with the students. And then after, between then and now, there was a cleanup activity and they planted trees. And so the students noticed and then came back and reported to us and challenged us and said, you showed Mathare when it was polluted. Can we now do one when it's been cleaned? Which it shows that, one, the students are paying attention, they're noticing when things are changing, but also they're active enough to understand that the narrative has to change. And you see that even in their classrooms, they start having discussions about can we have dustbins? How can we prevent the waste from going there? And even during the December holidays, they had a challenge not to use plastic bottles and to choose non-plastic alternatives like glass bottles for their beverages. And they came back and a lot of them were excited, saying, oh, I drank a soda for the first time with a glass bottle, because most of them have grown up with the plastic era. And so that is the impact you see, but also the excitement. I think climate change is a very complex issue with a lot of buzzwords. And so it can be very heavy content to deliver to kids. So it's always exciting when you can come up with a fun way to do it or an exciting way to engage kids with it. One of the ways we've used immersive technology is creating games. One of the games we have, which is an award-winning game, it was selected best game at the Kalasha 2022 awards, is a waste separation game. So ideally, you wouldn't have kids collecting waste because of the risks that come with that. If they're handling waste, you need protective equipment, you need safety measures, you need to organize a trip. It becomes very complicated. We were able to simulate a waste collection activity. We were able to bring the kids to the classroom where they were able to play the game, and they get scored on how fast they collect the waste and how well they do it. So this allowed them to experience things like biohazardous waste, which is not waste we would typically ever have kids touching. But through virtual reality, they can touch it and they can sort it. And this gives them a better understanding of the entire landscape of waste management, which is central to their understanding of the waste problem that we have in the country and in the world. And so that kind of engagement you see from the students, from where you see students really being shy around technology to them getting very competitive. So you can see the first time the kids are really scared, and then they see their peers who are maybe a bit more courageous, and then the second time they come back and they start now asking, can I use this controller to do this? Can I use this controller to do that? And over time, within 4 weeks, we have them play the game. And when they play the game, you can see the excitement, but also the competency they've developed with technology. We work with kids from international schools or private schools that are really high-end and have had exposure to gaming technology. And you can see for them, time is not a challenge because it's technology they're familiar with. And then you see kids who are from low-income or underserved communities, and for them, it might be the first time they're being introduced to gaming as a technology. And so you can see the way they develop the competency over time, but also the excitement and the proficiency they develop, which in addition to the content they're learning, is important for their overall technological or technology competence.
Sometimes they need a visual picture, you say, and one of the challenges that we had in school is visualizing what we are being taught, and it took nearly the whole time in school to understand, oh, that's what the teacher was saying. So what are some of the advantages that VR brings in education?
One of the advantages is just the ability to be present in an environment without physically traveling there. So the way the VR camera works, it has 6 lenses. So through the 6 lenses, it's able to take 360 picture of everything that is there. So, and we do this in video. So you have a 360 video of there. So when you're wearing the VR headset and you look around, you can see everything that somebody who's standing on location can see. So that allows it to give you a lot more context, but it also encourages self-exploration. When you go for a field trip, the teacher might want you to see an elephant, but the teacher cannot stop you from seeing a lion if it passes by. But if it's a picture, you only take a picture of the elephant. So virtual reality allows for that extra exploration. So when the students are wearing the headsets, the teacher might say, oh, look at the elephant. But if there's other things happening, they can become a source of learning. So they can look around and see, oh, that's a lion there. Oh, that's a giraffe there. Oh, that's a tree. Does the elephant eat that tree? Or what kind of food does the elephant eat? And be able to sort of contextualize that environment. So we think of virtual reality as the next best thing to traveling to that particular place. Think about the future of VR and the applications of 360 video in the classroom, we think about affordability, and the technology has become affordable. But at Ukwenza VR, we are all about equity. One of the ways we are making VR and 360 videos more equitable is by providing some of our content for free on YouTube. So all the textbooks currently being used in Kenya have a topic around farming. We have a tour of a small-scale farm in Murang'a that is available for free on YouTube. So with a Google Cardboard, this is the Google Cardboard. This one costs around 500, sometimes as little as 200, and you can get it on Luthuli River Road in Nairobi. And this makes it easy for you to access a VR experience on your phone. So what you do is, you take any smartphone, you go to YouTube. Once you see the experience, you put your phone here. You can see it has lenses. You put your phone here, you close it up, and immediately you have a VR headset. This means that any teacher who wants to start using virtual reality in the classroom can start doing it right now. I think Kenya in general is an enabling environment for innovation. As a tech startup, we have benefited from all the policies that have been put in place over time. The biggest challenge we have is that it takes time. With education, you're dealing with government. So we've engaged with several government agencies. We've had meetings with a few, and there's a lot of excitement about the potential for this. But also, there are a lot of processes that we have to navigate. There's a lot of steps and systems that exist, and some of them exist to protect the children, because again, we are dealing with children, but some of them just slow us down. I think with technology, we need to move really quickly, and as a startup, we want to be able to reach as many students as quickly as we can. And so we would really, like, our biggest thing is, how can we move faster? We've already seen its potential. We already have data showing that within just one session, there's an average improvement across multiple questions where the students self-assess themselves. There's an improvement of up to 26% confidence in the technology and in the content. So if that is just one session, not about over a period of 1 year, how much can it change students' perspectives and outcomes in the classroom? And so we really would like that to move faster. I think another challenge is ultimately the technology is still expensive. The Google Cardboard makes it very affordable, but ideally we would like to use the Quests or any of the more advanced headsets that support gaming and other more complex types of content, and that is still very expensive. So does the future look like us developing our content? Is our hardware, is the hardware gonna get cheaper? I think that's a question we are grappling with, and especially because the industry currently has very specific investors who have their interests and not necessarily in education. So if we could find a way to get a lot more hardware investment in the education space, I think that would really make the cost of hardware cheaper, and we can see this being rolled out together with the Laptops for Schools program. Like a laptop comes with a VR headset in an ideal situation. So we are yet to get there, but I'm hopeful that we're going there.
Well, virtual reality for education is designed to help raise engagement and improve student knowledge retention. And if you think about it, early education is all about learning through experience. And I'll just lift a quote and copy and say, I like Albert Einstein. And in one of his quotes he says, logic will get you from A to B, but imagination will take you everywhere. In this case, I think theory can get you from A to B, but virtual reality will take you everywhere. That's it for Techfile today. I hope you've learned something about VR in education. Do follow me on Instagram. Let's talk online. But for now, keep watching KT News.